Hi everyone, welcome back to the Madeline Makes Bake Off kitchen. This week is dessert week. I always found that dessert week was kind of a funny week to have in Bake Off because it's such a broad topic, but I guess it is its own subgenre of baking. So here we are in dessert week. So this week on the show, for the signature challenge, the bakers were tasked with making a layered meringue cake. For the technical challenge, it was Verrines, and for the showstopper challenge, a bomb cake. I decided to take on another technical challenge this week and we'll be making Verrines today. So the reason I chose this challenge is because it has a bunch of technical elements that I have never tried before. And there's a variety of techniques being used. We're making a streusel, we're making a panna cotta, we're making a compote. I've made compote before, but never with mango. So I was excited to make this because I wanted to try out all of these techniques. So this challenge was set by Prue, and the flavors that we'll be working with today are, it's a mango coconut, and originally it's supposed to be raspberry. Now I know with the technical challenge I'm supposed to stick to the recipe, however, I am allergic to raspberries. And so I'm making this with strawberries instead, slight deviation, but I wanted to give this a try because like I said before, there's a lot of techniques that go into this dessert and a lot of things I haven't tried before. And the ultimate goal of this challenge and this series as a whole is to try my hand at something that I wouldn't normally make. And this is not something that I would probably wake up on a Saturday and say, you know what I'm gonna make today? I'm gonna make verrines. It's complex. There's a lot of steps, a lot of different things going on. And if one layer doesn't work, the whole thing doesn't work, because if it's not set, like on the episode, then your streusel will just go through. Anyway, we'll see what happens. All right, let's get started. All right, so first things first, we're gonna make our sablé biscuit. So the sablé biscuit isn't flavored in any way. It's just flour and sugar and butter. So I think it's just more of a texture element. As you can see, I'm very much in the fall mood. Got a fall aesthetic going on. It's finally cold here. It's been technically autumn for like a month, but it's been like 90 degrees. It's finally cold enough to be fall, and I am taking advantage of it. I'm gonna go ahead and start creaming this. When you're creaming sugar and butter, you should do it longer than you think you need to. It's not till it's incorporated, until it's fluffy. It looks pretty soft and fluffy now. It's a bit crumbly, but I'm sure we can press that into a dough, no problem. That is like the cutest little bit of cookie dough ever. All right, to the fridge, where this is going to chill for probably longer than 30 minutes, if I'm honest, but 30 minutes at least. So even though it's very fall outside, this recipe is very summery in its flavors. So I'm glad that the fruit I needed was still in the shops. That looks like baby food. Okay, maybe it was meant to be a bit smoother, I don't know. So we just got this new toy. So here are the instructions. So it says add the glucose and warm to 104 degrees Fahrenheit on the cooking thermometer. In a small bowl, whisk the pectin and the sugar together using a balloon whisk, then whisk into the mango puree. So here's my problem. Should I just go ahead and whisk the pectin and the sugar together, because I'm probably gonna wanna add that when it reaches 104. Because once it reaches 104, I don't wanna then have to be like, okay, let me go do this separate thing and then risk the temperature. Because I know when it comes to setting jellies and things like that, temperature is important. I'm gonna do that. Adding the glucose. I'm gonna put that on pretty low. Wow, according to this, we're at 105 degrees already. We're at 120, we're at 130 degrees. Wow, that was really fast. I'm gonna cool this down a little bit. I seriously don't know how the bakers do this kind of stuff so quickly. I mean, I feel like every time they're like, oh, bakers, you have 2 hours to complete this task, and it takes me triple that time. And I'm gonna whisk this in. Carefully. Ooh, I can feel it thickening. Okay, so now I add 2/3 of this. I'm gonna say that is 2/3. I'm gonna say that was about a teaspoon. Probably a little under, but I think it'll be okay. Look at that. We've got a mango compote. All right, so I'm gonna turn this off and I'm gonna let it cool for just a second. And then we're gonna put it into our Verrines glasses. So we're gonna start that layering process. In the original show, they had 4 glasses. However, we broke one of these, so we do 3 glasses. All right, so I'm gonna pop these in the refrigerator for, it says 30 minutes, and we're gonna move on to making our cookies. Okay, so we have our adorable little cookie dough here. It's very hard, so this might have to soften for just a minute. Now, let's see how thick it needs to be. 2 millimeters. That seems thin. It's cracking a lot. I don't know if oh my gosh, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Get in there. It's very brittle. It's just falling apart. Oh yeah, I used gluten-free flour. Everything's dry when you make it gluten-free. Oh my gosh, can I get a third one? Oh no. Can I repair this enough to make this the third one? All right, so now I'm gonna use this cap and I'm just gonna cut an off-center circle. It says just off-center of the middle of the biscuit. Okay, so that's like right there. Oh no, that one didn't like that. Okay, close that. Chill for 30 minutes again. Okay, lots of chilling going on here. So I do wonder if on the show the bakers have like multiple stand mixer bowls they can use, because I don't think they would show this even if it was the case. I've never seen them like take a second to wash dishes because they have to beat something again. Just an observation. Okay, let's make streusel. For the streusel, cream, butter, and sugar together in a stand mixer. Okay, so now we'll add our flour. This is, I don't think I said this, this is a lime and coconut streusel. So we're getting very tropical. Got desiccated coconut. I'm gonna say that's about 1/4. That's like a tiny measly amount. We're gonna be grating it. So I think it's like meant to be like kind of like a block of cheese. Now this is gonna go in the freezer, so it's gonna get really hard. Okay, panna cotta. Coconut panna cotta. All right, so this is another area where I had to adapt. So it calls for like sheets of gelatin. I couldn't find any sheets of gelatin, so I just have powdered gelatin, and I'm just gonna convert a little bit. So hopefully it's unproblematic, but who knows? Okay, let's do it. All right, so I've got my burner back out because now we are on to the coconut panna cotta. I need to do research on the difference between a jelly and a panna cotta. I think a panna cotta is like cream based, I think. Anyway, so like I mentioned, this actually calls for sheet gelatin. I couldn't find any in my store, so I'm just going with powdered and I'm sure it will be fine. So while this comes up to a boil, I'm actually gonna go ahead and bake my cookies. So those are going to bake for about 9 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those in. And now we're gonna add our gelatin, stirring until completely dissolved. Okay. The powder needs a whisk. Otherwise, we're gonna have clumps like that. Oh no. All right, I feel a little better. There's less gelatin. It's still not perfect, but do what you gotta do. Totally estimating on quantity. Ooh, great. The mango layer wasn't completely flat on each of them, but we've got distinct layers. These look beautiful. I'm gonna carefully, because I don't wanna get streaks all up the side, transfer these back to the refrigerator. They're gonna stay there for another, it says 30 minutes, probably gonna be more than that because I'm slow, So next we're doing our streusel. So this has been in the freezer for definitely more than 30 minutes. And now it just says to grate it with a grater. I never would have thought to do this. I don't know if this is a usual method. So now I'm gonna bake this at 400. So these are gonna get really crispy. And it says to bake these for 5 to 7 minutes. So I'm gonna do 7 minutes. As I said before, I'm doing strawberries instead because I'm allergic to raspberries. I know, super weird, I don't know. Okay. So I wonder why the mango compote used pectin and this uses gelatin. This whole bake has been like musical appliances. I thought about doing blackberry instead, but I wanted to try to keep the colors as consistent as possible. And I felt that it seems like the theme of this is quite tropical flavors. We've got coconut, we've got lime, we've got mango, and I felt that blackberry deviated quite a bit from that tropical theme, so decided to go with the strawberry. Next, we're gonna add our gelatin. It calls for a sheet of gelatin, but I will be doing just a teaspoon because that's apparently the equivalent. So this also does call for raspberry liqueur. I didn't buy raspberry liqueur not only because it's raspberry and I can't eat raspberries, but I also didn't want to, even if I was doing raspberries, probably would not have purchased it because we don't drink a lot in this household, especially not raspberry liqueur, so I didn't want to go out and buy a thing of alcohol that I am never going to drink. Pour it into the glasses. Hopefully I have enough. Ooh. Yeah, that's a tiny layer, but you know, not much I can do about that. All right, back to the fridge for 30 minutes. And next, I'm gonna temper some chocolate, which I've actually never done, so yikes, let's do it. So I don't have a marble slab on which to cool down my chocolate. But basically, if you're not familiar with tempering, it's bringing the chocolate up to a certain temperature and it breaks down like the crystals in the chocolate in a certain scientific way that I don't completely understand. And then you cool it down again, and then I think you heat it again? I don't know, but basically you're restructuring the crystals in the chocolate so that it appears really shiny and it cracks instead of bends when you break it. So if you have a nice chocolate bar, that's tempered chocolate because it snaps. So I need to get this chocolate to 110 degrees, and then I take it off the heat, cool it down to 90, 95 degrees, and then add the rest of the chocolate. It went from like, it's 80 degrees to it's 130 degrees. It's supposed to be 110. Oops. At least, you know, in the tent, sometimes they have like tempering chocolate challenges when it's the middle of summer, and I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you do that to them? I can feel the consistency changing. It's honestly really cool. I don't think I've ever worked with chocolate in this way. So just learning how it reacts at certain temperatures itself is a learning experience, which is always the objective. I think my chocolate is a bit liquidy, but it does make me want to write my name. I forgot the I. Time to assemble the Verrines. Finally, I do not understand. I need to go back in the episode and see how much time the bakers had for this, because this has taken me like 3.5 hours. Granted, took some breaks and stuff like that, but still, my gosh. So I'm just gonna take a little spoon and just spread some over. We need a very important ingredient. My love, would you please go to the garden and fetch some mint leaves? We have a bit of an herb garden, so it smells so nice. So now I'm going to put some mango on top of the streusel. I'm trying to get one over on the side, but in this one they keep landing in the middle. Still didn't go where I wanted it to. Oh, that looks lovely. What is it about adding mint or parsley or something like that that makes a dish look so much better? I'm not even sure. So next we place this on top. It's supposed to fit exactly this, but it's fine. All right, so these are finished. They look beautiful. My chocolate is definitely not tempered. It's starting to look quite sad, and it definitely doesn't have that snap you were kind of hoping for. I always get excited when I make something beautiful, and I think these are beautiful. I am going to try it. So which one should I eat? I will go with this one. Put my strawberries on top instead of the raspberries, because I mentioned before, strawberries are great. So I'm gonna try my biscuit first. Completely unremarkable. It's thin and it's crispy and it's good. I like it a little overbaked, but yeah, they're good. Flavors are really good. Dare I go in for some more? It's really fruity, it's really tropical. It's really nice. It's tasty. I like that the bottom layer has like the chunks of mango. The mint just brings this level of refreshment to it. I think an entire leaf would be too much. That little bit that I just did just kind of livened up that bite. I imagine this is something you would eat by the seaside at some fancy restaurant. That's what this reminds me of. It's really tasty, it's really light and refreshing. I don't get a lot of the coconut flavor. I thought I'd get a lot more considering how large this layer is compared to the rest of the layers. What's really coming through for me is definitely the streusel, that sweetness, that brown sugar taste from the streusel, and mango. The strawberry I'm getting as well, but I expected this to be very coconut heavy, but I'm really getting the vibrancy from the mango complemented by the strawberry. I'm sure if the raspberry would do the same thing. I think raspberry would probably bring more of a tartness to this than the strawberry. Super refreshing, super bright. This would be great over the summer. These flavors are really a celebration of summer. But I'm really pleased with this bake. I completely understand why this was a technical bake. There are so many steps and so many techniques that you need to execute to bring this to its finished product. I certainly didn't nail it. I will avenge tempered chocolate. I'll do my best to nail that at some point in the future. I'm counting this as a almost slam dunk just because of my chocolate and obviously the time it took me to make, but almost slam dunk, so I'm really pleased. I think I would have done pretty well in the technical. Overall, super pleased with this bake. It's probably top 3 most beautiful things I've ever made, ever. So even just making something pretty and learning how to make something aesthetically pleasing is good as well. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this bake. This was an exciting one. Definitely not something I would have baked outside of this challenge. So really glad that I gave it a try. That's really the whole point of doing this, is baking things that I wouldn't normally undertake. And this is definitely one of those bakes. I don't normally reach for coconut and mango, and certainly not these panna cotta jelly type desserts. But I'm really glad I gave this a try. That concludes dessert week, and next week is festival week. So I hope to see you for that. I'm excited about what I'm making for that bake. And if you like this video, then please give it a like. If you are interested in this bake-off journey, then feel free to subscribe, and I will see you next week for festival week.